In this audiobook, you discover the 3 real paths to wealth in the modern world, why most people misunderstand them, and how to avoid their mistakes, the hidden cost of each path, and why most people fail before they even begin, how to choose the one that aligns with your life, your strengths, and your vision. Wealth isn't about effort. It's about structure. If effort alone created wealth, everyone working hard would be rich. But that's not reality. So pause. Think about your current path. Are you building something? Are you investing in assets? Are you earning and converting income into ownership? Or are you just surviving? Because survival and wealth follow completely different systems. The 3 paths to wealth. There are only 3 ways to get rich, and each has a hidden cost most people underestimate. 1. Build, create something, own it, and scale it. 2. Buy, acquire assets and let them compound over time. 3. Join, enter high-value systems, earn aggressively, and convert income into ownership. That's it. But here's the problem: each path feels simple but is brutally difficult in execution. And most people avoid the hard path without even realizing it. Ask yourself, which path am I on? Did I choose it, or did I just fall into it? Because that question can change everything. Part 1. Build, the most powerful, the most brutal. Building sounds exciting. You create something, own it, and suddenly you're no longer trading time for money. You're controlling something that produces money. But here's the truth most people never hear: building is the most powerful path, and the most brutal one. Why? Uncertainty is constant. No guarantees. No safety net. Just effort and hope. Execution is everything. Ideas are cheap. Execution is rare. Ownership is non-negotiable. If you don't own enough of what you build, it doesn't matter how big it gets, you won't benefit. The 5 stages of building wealth. 1. Identify a real problem, not a small inconvenience, but a real inefficiency people will pay to solve. 2. Create a solution, not perfect, not complex, just functional. 3. Make it repeatable. If you can't deliver consistently, you can't grow. 4. Scale distribution. The best product fails without reach. Most people ignore this. 5. Keep ownership. If you give it away too soon, you lose everything. The hidden cost. Most people quit before the system works. They can't handle the uncertainty, the instability, the pressure. Ask yourself, am I willing to build something without knowing if it will work? Am I willing to persist when nothing pays off? Because that's the price. The leverage of ownership. Income pays you once. Ownership pays you forever. When you build something scalable, your effort is multiplied. One product sold many times. One system serving many people. One idea expanding across markets. Comparison, income, you work, you get paid, you stop, income stops. Linear, building, you create, it works, it scales, your wealth grows exponentially. Non-linear. The brutal truth: most people will try this and quit, not because they can't succeed, but because they can't endure the early phase. Shift your identity. You're not just working. You're creating. And creation is what separates builders from earners. Part 2. Buy, the quiet path to wealth. Not everyone builds the machine. Some people buy it. This path is quieter, less visible, but incredibly powerful. Why? You step into something that already works: a business, a property, a share in a system. Your income is no longer tied only to your effort. It's tied to systems that scale. Compounding does the heavy lifting. Small gains repeated consistently become unstoppable over time. The 4 steps. 1. Accumulate capital, create surplus through discipline. 2. Allocate into productive assets, not random, but intentional. 3. Reinvest, let it grow. Don't extract everything. 4. Repeat, consistency is key. The hidden cost: patience. Most people want fast results. They expect instant growth. But compounding takes time. Ask yourself, am I willing to wait for something that grows slowly? Will I stay consistent even when nothing dramatic happens? Because interrupting compounding resets progress. The power of ownership. When you own assets, your income is no longer tied only to your effort. It's tied to systems that produce value with or without you. Shift your identity. You're not just earning. You're owning. And ownership changes how you think, how you act, how you decide. The harsh reality, if you don't own assets, you're building someone else's wealth. Part 3. Join the bridge to ownership. Not everyone starts with capital. Not everyone wants to build from zero. So they enter a system, a job, a company, an industry, and trade their time for income. But here's the trap: income alone will never make you rich. Why? Most people stop at income. They earn more but don't convert it into ownership. They upgrade their lifestyle instead of building assets. They stay trapped in the cycle. The 5 phases of this path. 1. Skill acquisition. Develop something valuable, not trendy. 2. System selection. Where you apply your skill matters. A strong skill in a weak system limits income. 3. Proximity. Move closer to where decisions are made. Closer to capital. Closer to opportunities. 4. Conversion. Take your income and immediately turn it into ownership. Income is temporary. Ownership is lasting. 5. Detachment. Your assets grow, your income from ownership increases, and slowly your dependence on work decreases. The hidden cost. Discipline. The temptation is constant: more income, more spending, more comfort. And comfort slows progress. Ask yourself, if my income increased tomorrow, would I build or just spend? Am I using my position or just staying in it? Because using it creates leverage. Staying in it creates limits. Why most people fail even when they choose correctly? Most people don't fail because they choose the wrong path. They fail because they avoid the hard path of the right one. Builders underestimate execution. They think passion is enough. But building requires systems, consistency, resilience. Buyers lack patience. They want fast results. But compounding takes time. Joiners stop at income. They earn more but don't convert. The common pattern: most people don't commit. They jump between paths. They try building, then quit. They try investing, then panic. They try earning more, then lose discipline. The shift: you don't need all 3 paths. You need one executed fully, because depth creates outcomes, not variety. The real enemy, not the system. Not the market. Emotion, fear, impatience, comfort. The harsh truth: wealth is built by accepting the cost, not avoiding it. The mindset that separates winners from everyone else. 2 people can choose the same path and end up in completely different lives. Why? Because mindset decides everything. The 7 mindset shifts. 1. From passive to active. Winners don't wait for opportunities. They create them. 2. From consumption to creation. Consumption makes you comfortable. Creation makes you powerful. 3. From short-term to long-term. Wealth rewards patience. Most people want results now. 4. From fear to understanding. Fear is natural. Winners see it as a signal, not a stop sign. 5. From ego to learning. Ego keeps you stuck. Humility lets you grow. 6. From isolation to awareness. Winners think in systems. They see connections between effort and outcome. 7. From scarcity to abundance. Scarcity makes you hold. Abundance makes you build. The quiet transformation: you don't notice it immediately, but over time, you respond differently. You choose differently. You move differently. The gap widens. At first, it's small. But over time, it grows because your thinking compounds just like money does. The ultimate advantage: focus. Attention is the most valuable currency you have. The invisible drain: notifications, endless scrolling, constant noise. Your attention is being pulled in every direction. The cost of distraction: minutes turn into hours. Hours turn into days. Days turn into years. And suddenly, you've spent your life reacting instead of building. The power of deep focus: 1 hour of deep focus is worth more than 10 hours of distraction. The discipline of attention. Control your environment. Set clear intentions. Stay with the task. Train consistency. The competitive edge: most people can't do this. They're addicted to distraction. And that's why focus becomes your ultimate advantage. The discipline that turns effort into results. Motivation feels powerful, but it's temporary. The real problem: most people wait to feel ready. They wait to feel inspired. They wait to feel motivated. And when they don't, they stop. The missing piece: discipline. Because discipline does not depend on feelings. It depends on decisions. The daily battle: do what's easy or do what matters. The identity shift: you stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start saying, "This is who I am." The compound effect: one disciplined action feels small. But repeated daily, it becomes powerful. The separation point: some choose comfort. Some choose discipline. And over time, that choice creates 2 completely different lives. The environment that shapes you. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your environment. The hidden influence: the people around you. The conversations you hear. The habits you see. The beliefs you absorb. The mirror effect: you reflect your environment, not perfectly, but gradually. The comfort zone trap: the wrong environment feels safe because it requires nothing from you. But that comfort comes at a cost: your potential. The growth environment: surround yourself with people who think bigger, act faster, demand more. Suddenly, your standards shift. The silent impact: you might think this doesn't affect you. But it does, slowly, subtly, consistently. The environment upgrade: at some point, you must decide, do I stay where I'm comfortable, or move where I can grow? The lies that keep you stuck. The biggest obstacle isn't outside you. It's the story you tell yourself. The invisible enemy. I start later. Readiness is a myth. I don't have enough time. Priority is the issue. I'm not like them. They weren't ready either. What if I fail? What if you don't try? I start when things calm down. They never will. The awareness shift: the moment you recognize these patterns, they lose power. The internal dialogue: instead of, "I can't do this," ask, "What's the smallest step I can take?" The control returns: you stop being controlled by thoughts and start controlling them. The new standard: you don't accept excuses, even from yourself. The power of time: why starting now changes everything. Time doesn't care who you are. It doesn't warn you. It doesn't wait. But it decides everything. The illusion of later via start later. Later turns into never. The hidden cost of waiting: every day you delay, you lose something you can't recover: time. The compounding effect: time is not neutral. It compounds in both directions. Used well, multiplies your results. Ignored, multiplies your regrets. The early advantage: when you start early, even small actions grow. Over time, they become massive. The late realization: most people understand this too late. They look back and think, I should have started sooner. The present moment, this moment is an opportunity, not a big one, but a real one, to start the small step. The shift, you stop waiting. You stop delaying. You stop overthinking. And you start acting. The power of leverage, why effort alone will never make you rich. There's a point where working harder stops working. The hard truth, effort has a limit. You can only work so many hours. You can only give so much energy. The missing piece, leverage. Because leverage multiplies what you do without doing more. The three forms of leverage. 1. Time leverage. Create something once and let it work for you repeatedly. 2. Skill leverage. Focus on skills that multiply your value. 3. System leverage. Build or use systems that operate without constant input. The key realization, every path requires leverage. Without it, you stay limited. The effort trap, most people stay here, working harder, longer, faster, but never scaling because they never shift to leverage. The shift in thinking, stop asking, how can I do more? Start asking, how can I make this work without me? The truth about risk, why avoiding it keeps you stuck. Most people think risk is the enemy. But that belief is exactly what keeps them stuck. The misunderstood concept, risk isn't just loss. It's uncertainty. And uncertainty is where growth happens. The two types of risk, 1. Blind risk, reckless. No plan, no understanding, no control. 2. Calculated risk, you think, analyze, prepare, but still act. The risk of inaction, doing nothing is also a decision. And it carries risk, the risk of staying stuck, the risk of missed opportunities, the risk of regret. The builder's risk, you risk failure. But you gain experience, which reduces future risk. The investor's risk, you risk volatility. But over time, with consistency, risk decreases. The operator's risk, you risk dependence. But if you learn and convert, you turn that risk into leverage. The shift in thinking, instead of, what if I fail, ask, what is the cost of not trying? The courage factor, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's action despite it. The decisions that define your life. Your life isn't random. It's the result of your decisions. The illusion of big moments. Most people think success comes from big decisions. But that's not how it works. The reality, your life is shaped by small decisions repeated consistently. The unconscious choice, the most dangerous decisions are the ones you don't realize you're making, scrolling instead of learning, avoiding instead of acting, choosing comfort instead of growth. The decision filter, before you act, ask, does this move me forward or keep me where I am? The speed factor, winners make decisions faster, not because they're reckless, but because they understand indecision is a decision. The confidence loop, action builds confidence. Not the other way around. The long-term thinking, short-term decisions feel good. Long-term decisions build your future. The pattern of winners, they choose long-term again and again, even when it's difficult. The pattern of everyone else, they choose short-term again and again and wonder why nothing changes. Execution, where everything becomes real. Knowledge doesn't create results. Execution does. The hard truth, most people don't fail because they don't know. They fail because they don't act. The illusion of preparation, it feels productive, learning more, watching more, understanding more. But at some point, preparation becomes avoidance. The fear behind inaction, execution exposes you to failure, judgment, uncertainty. And that's why people hesitate. The first step problem, starting is always the hardest part. Because the beginning has no momentum, no clarity, no guarantee, just movement into the unknown. The simple truth, you don't need everything figured out. You just need to start. The momentum effect, once you begin, something changes. You see more, understand more, adjust faster. The small action principle: you don't need massive steps. You need consistent ones. The consistency advantage: one action won't change your life, but repeated action will. The execution gap: this is where most people lose. They start, then stop. They act, then hesitate. They try, then quit. The discipline of execution: execution requires discipline, not motivation, because motivation fades, but discipline sustains action.